Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is the penultimate round of the Proam GT3 season here at Formula Racing League. It's a bit more of unpopulated grid here tonight. Obviously, a few having to, unfortunately, having other commitments colliding with this date. But this is the round, obviously, that could potentially see the crown of the champion here, depending if that certain person can maintain the lead of the race for tonight. But obviously we still have a round off this. This is actually what was going to be Valencia tonight, and I'm very glad it's not. I've been doing a lot of Valencia, and this is actually my first time commentating at the Red Bull Ring. Beautiful circuit. I'm so glad it's been added to the game. Not been able to race it too much recently. I've had a lot of other stuff to do, and if someone could tell me if my mic quality is doing alright, I've just not had too much time to try set everything up today. But it's definitely looking quite promising so far. As you can see, the top two already split by 15 thousandths of a second, and also we do see there, obviously, Yaroshenko as well, just a tenth and a half or so, or a tenth and 3/4, you could actually say, for the top three potential drivers. However, we do see Sven also just 2/10 between him and P1. We also do see Alex Fragerwood very close, just under 5/10, followed by Tramby there, and nearly close to 6/10, but just out, as we do see the times now becoming very, very close together, as we did see Sven Corving taking the lead of qualifying provisionally with a 1:28.4, but it's just been taken by Sebastian Picano here with a 1:28.087 in the BMW M4. They're now about a 4/10 gap between P1 and P2. Can that gap decrease? Only 9-ish minutes left of qualifying now. These four drivers have been battling it out quite a bit so far in the practice session. It's been quite a slow practice session now. I was in it for some time, just getting some stuff ready. But there is some interesting stuff during this race, because obviously what you can see in the climate right now is some clouds there, and it's quite dense cloud covering. So I'm kind of having the feeling there could be some potential of rain coming during the race, which can always affect results quite a bit, because obviously people have probably been practicing in the dry, depending on what the practice server's being set to. But obviously there is a chance of rain in every single one of these races, as you can see on the calendar with the weather symbols on it. But obviously, penultimate rounds, I will talk about championship standings later on, as it's just a one split. As you can see, everyone here is in the silver category. Here in the Pro-Am class, obviously we have the rookies underneath us, and we have the masters above us as well, which is also live, so go check out them as well as we wait for qualifying to stop. But there is a lot on the line for this championship. We've got two quite good prizes here. Obviously this is sponsored as we do see Sebastian Picano just oversteering off, and must have taken a bit too much sausage curve there going into turn one, unfortunately untailing his BMW, making him have to go back into pits. But as I was saying, this is obviously sponsored by Coach Dave Delta Serbs, as you can see on the prelapsed what's it called, the image sponsor board on the bottom right of the stream layout. But we've got two prizes here for the champion, but it is a Coach Dave Delta 1 month subscription and a Never Left coach session. So very good prizes here on the line. It's good to see prizes being incorporated into ACC leagues again as we go on board. Hewitt Svenkoven once again just over 2,000 of a second up on his specialized lap time, going into turn 8, losing a tiny bit of time there. In fact, going a bit negative there, as we do see though Hanu to a Maiden, who is just going on to turn 2 on that straight in the PST Racing, who we've seen most of the season right now, has quite a good attendance ratio. There's a few other drivers as well, as we do see what seems to be James Williams just letting him go, which is very good to see. But I'm disappointed with James, because he said the pink pig livery was going to be back for the Ferrari, and it's not that. I know he's probably listening to this actually, but I'm disappointed he's not in that, because I was excited to see what that would have been like. But it's okay. Ian Thompson as well, Chica Motorsport AMR Aston Martin V8, as you can see there. Going into turn 3, making a bit of time there. About 3.5 tenths now. Going onto the straight, gaining a tiny bit of time. Does seem though. Going into turn 5. Turning on the right. It's turn 4, but still 5 tenths up. Gaining quite a bit. It's still fractional though, but still everything counts. Going into turn 6, and obviously these corners get a tiny bit more technical. Obviously you have the two sweeping left-handers, and then you have the S's here, which you can see here, which you can take a lot of the line as we do see Ian Thompson going quite wide, but manages to save the lap and still valid. Still about 5 tenths up on his personal best lap time. Will improve him quite significantly. Possibly can go up to P14, P13, and possibly even P12 if he can get this lap time down. It does seem he's gaining a lot of lap time there going into turn 8. And turn 9 coming across. Start finish straight now. Losing a tiny bit of time on the exit, and he goes up. Not too early position, because it seems he might have invalidated it at some point there, but it didn't seem to be displayed on my ACT rights controller. But we did see Simon Turner did just steal P17 there from Ian Thompson for a 129.412 there. Going further up though, we do just see though, and once again about 4 times up on his personal best lap time. Could be on here for a low 28. Going through turn 7. Gaining a tiny bit of time, not much, fractional, but everything can still count. This could be provisional pole position if he can get this lap time done. Just needs about 5 thousandths of a second going into the final corner. Can he get it on the exit? It doesn't seem he's able to. Losing time going across the line. This will still be an improvement, possibly here for P3, and he goes up into P3. Very marginal between both P3 and P4, just about a thousandth of a second between both of them. But it does seem he settles in P3 nicely, but is still gaining here. Needs 2 and a bit times to try get pole position. Obviously still has quite a few corners going into the end of sector 1. Is about 7 thousandths up on his personal best lap time now. Getting quite a bit of time on the entry, but seems he broke a bit late, not focusing on the exit, and lost all of his time there going into the positive delta. Although we do see Yaroshenko though in the Ferrari 296 as well, just in the horizon there of PST Racing of Tuominen. Currently P5, but looking to improve. Currently 3 tenths up on his personal best lap time. This could definitely put Tuominen's P3 at risk here if he can materialise this lap time and keep it valid. Going through sector 3, going through the final corner now of sector 2. Seems he's still gaining a bit of time, but does seem he goes a bit wide there, touching the gravel a tiny bit, losing a tiny bit of time. Goes a bit wide, keeps it valid though. Losing all of his time on the entrance there, as you can see, he just oversteered a bit, or understeered, depending on what actually happened. Didn't see it all, but he does just come across the line with a positive delta, unfortunately now. In fact, he's getting a tiny bit of time, but it's not going to be enough to try to take P3. He's not going to be happy with himself after that. We do see Deschong though just in the background as well on the Slick 50 Racing Porsche 992. Trying to get further and further up the grid. Currently 1.6 seconds off the leader. Possibly not the strongest track for the most, because obviously it's a quite new track and not many people have setups yet for it. Let's just see him now going into turn 3. About 3 tenths up on this personal best lap time. Can get quite a significant improvement if he is able to keep this going. Not really getting the best of exits there. Losing about 5 thousandths of a second there going into turn 4. Just seen breaking under the headboard. Just trying to improve on the inside line. Does seem he gains about a tenth and a half, but loses it on the exit, unfortunately there. In fact, she loses quite a bit of time now. Just 1 tenth and about a quarter. Trying to gain it now. Going in, and we just see a lot of an oversteer moment there. That's not going to help him, as he does now just lose quite a bit of time. It's now going into positive delta now, going through turn 7 and 8. Good evening. I'm presuming it's going to be James on the admin, as you are in pit, so it would make sense. There is a third James who's not in the pink pig livery that you promised me. We didn't promise him anything, actually, so I'll take back that. Ian Thompson, though. Chica AML V8 livery. Obviously, quite similar to 2024 F1 livery, but obviously it is just kind of the same as the 2023 livery as well, and the 2022, and the 2021. Actually, no, not the 2021, but the 2022. Forgot. You had other issues of trying to set prove me wrong, which you still did with the pit issues. Which I somehow, I don't know how we get tyres and fuel, but oh well. Scotland FRS Racing Team Mercedes AMG. Not a car you see very much. Does seem we do have two in this season, so it's good to see them starting to make a comeback once again after the 1.9 bop. Going through the final corner, about nearly 3.5 tenths up on this person. Where's the lap time will be an improvement. Goes up into P15 there, so about a 4 position gain there from him. Not many people are improving actually. I'm on time now, but it does seem due up. He's trying to improve on his lap time. Although we haven't seen too many times this season now. About 1.5 tenths up on his person with lap time going into the final corners of sector 2 now. Not being able to carry it going through turn 4. Turn 5 trying to get it back. It's not working for him now. So we have just seen this is the end of qualifying here. So you see the last few people going across the line now. It doesn't seem anyone is improving enough. It's very fractional if they are improving. Coming across the line now. Everyone finishes qualifying here. We will try to see, as we just hear a lot of people revving their engines. But what we are seeing here is the server is quite tightly packed. P1, P2, P3 separated by exactly a tenth. So that's hopefully something good to see. Obviously, Sebastian Picano currently in P1, followed by Savant, who we are now on the grid with. We'll go through championship orders later on. But for now, we will do just get ready, because it doesn't seem we're going to have enough time to try and formulate. No, that's the wrong thing. Sorry. Not to have enough time to formulate any sort of grid walkers. We only have 1:33, but we do see quite a populated grid. Obviously, we have the full formation lap as usual now. Hopefully to try get the tyres up, but it does seem now, weather report for the first 3 minutes, it does seem dry, and it is an optimum track with 23 degrees Celsius track. So it's looking pretty easy now for well, for all of them, should I say. But Sebastian Picano obviously has the advantage of now being a P1, hopefully trying to avoid all the carnage that potentially could happen in the midfield or anyone else, because obviously you're starting on a very cruel and tight turning of turn 1, which is that you have a sausage apex on the inside, and if you take that, you just absolutely lose control of the car. Just no stability for the car to go on whatsoever. That's what usually causes the incidents going into this track, and it's the same with many other tracks. Obviously the sausage curbs are some brutal curbs, but they are sometimes there for a reason. Seeing every car now drop down on that jack, as we have 23 seconds left till the session start. So everyone who is doing the race tonight, good luck to you if you are watching at the same time. Now, here everyone's ignition starting to go on as we are now about to see everyone starting the formation lap as we see. I'm just trying to start warm the tyres up as we do see half the field already going. Does seem though Albert Rossen is going to start from the pit lane for this race, it seems. Maybe not clicking the drive button fast enough as we already. You can't comprehend how short of a track this actually is. We're already nearly halfway down the straight already. As I'm going to say already about 4 times in a sentence, I apologise. So now everyone doing turn 3. Obviously in single file, and then when we get to the final few corners, obviously turn 8 and 9, we'll have the double formation happening for the race start. It seems we do have about 22 drivers here on the grid, only 21 starting on the formation lap, as we did see Albert Rossen in the pits. Obviously it's a normal 1 hour race sprint here, so we do have a mandatory pit stop for fuel, then optional tyres if you need it, but you shouldn't need tyres for an hour. You probably lose too much time compared to how much time you'll actually gain taking tyres. And it's the final sector now. This is where we'll start seeing the cars formating, ready for the race start in race formation. See, now we're all going double file, but does it seem we're losing a car at the front of the pack? I'm not sure we are. I think the order's just a bit screwed up at the moment. So we go find this final few corners now. Obviously turn 8 and 9. And this weird mini straight. And obviously the pit lane is rather dangerous here, as it's that very fast thing. And then you have the dip, which isn't great for braking under, and obviously can go on the barrier. And then you have quite a strict pit entry. As we are about to go green here for race 7 or 6. As we are about to go green here for race 7 of the Formula Racing League Proam GT3 Championship. As we do see there's a free white already happening down here. Daniel Trambaglio going with Yaroshenko and what seems to be a Porsche of Alex Fragwood. And there's already contact there going on to the runoff area. And it does seem everyone does keep it fairly clearly. No spins to happen there, as we do see Sven Corving trying to go side by side already with another driver. It seems Hanutuo Mainon is trying to get past him as quickly as possible. It does seem Sebastian Picano manages to already formulate a tiny bit of a gap for himself to try and be safe. As we go further down, we do see Yaroshenko trying to go side by side, gets a bit of a runoff there, and it does seem he's going to try go side by side once again with what seems to be the BMW of Namtaz. He's made quite a reasonable start so far for himself, going side by side going into turn 5. The outside isn't the best line for him through there, as we also do see going further down a few rough battles starting to happen. So you do see James Williams just trying to stay out of trouble, as we do see further up in the grid as well. These two drivers who have been going at it for some time already. Now a few corners just being side by side with each other for most of them. Obviously Scotton and Giuseppe. Giuseppe winning race 1 of Silverstone last races. We do see there was a yellow flag there. I don't know what happened there. We'll have to try to get a replay on that. It's possible. It does seem there's going to be a bit of door rubbing there going into turn 8 there. It does seem that they are going to try to go side by side in 2 ways here. This can't go the best of ways going into turn 1. It does seem that the McLaren of Dewar does have the overspeed and the inside line going into turn 1. Alex Fraggle would brakes very late. He goes all over the apex there of the sausage curb, which makes him go flying there. As we do see a bit of flashing lights there from what seems to be Proam not being happy as well as Cottrell as well. So it might not be the cleanest of racing from a few of these. Charles Stewart, though, trying to get past Mark GG in the Greg's McLaren 720S Evo. Trying to go side by side going into turn 3. He is going to formulate side by side. Is he going to have the overspeed, though? It does seem the McLaren does start to create a bit of a speed difference for him. But obviously Mark GG does have the inside line going into turn 4, as we have seen retirement from the races already, as you can see on the timing board. Not sure who that is, but it might not be good, as we do see a few cars going on to the gravel trap there. That does usually happen if you go a bit wide. That might have been Scotton now losing a few positions. James Williams now in front of him, and now we do see him getting a bit of pressure there from Simon Turner, I think that is, as well behind him. Does seem though the pace difference, you can tell what the pace difference is, and this is, we've started already seeing quite big gaps happening. Obviously it does seem Sebastian Picano is starting to create quite a big gap for himself going on to the second lap now. Right, about a 1.8 second gap as we do see Yaroshenko going into the pits. Is this going to be an early pit stop gain here by Yaroshenko? Was this an unintentional pit stop for damage? It doesn't seem there's any damage to the front of his 296 or the back of it at all, so it must be just trying to get the undercut. Very, very early undercut, so we'll just see if he can maintain the gap that he needs to, as we do see these cars are starting to get a bit aggressive here. Scott and Simon Turner, and obviously we do see De Jong as well, all part of this. De Jong trying to get past and just maintain a bit of gap for as long as he can, whereas Scotland's trying to keep an attack, but also trying to balance how much he attacks compared to what he does defend as well, because obviously he has that pressure from Simon Turner background, as we do see James Williams trying to look for a move there on Giuseppe. Not working just yet. It does seem the pace difference and the pace advantage is in James's favour for the time being, but we are only on lap 3, so we can't really judge anything of that just yet. This is where we do see the weakest in pace, just because of how much people are attacking, so pace isn't at its full potential. Andre Scotton, though, still on the back of Simon Turner. Not close enough just yet. Try, I think, of going for a move, but we'll just have to see what happens with this. He is losing a bit of time, about 5 attempts now going into the final few corners of lap 3, as we have just seen the leader enter the 4th lap, as we do see it seems Giuseppe's trying to get a bit of an overcut there on, I'm presuming it's going to be on James Williams, because they were battling earlier, so I don't know if this is a strategic move or is he just planned that in general. Alex Fragerwood, though, trying to get some move done on Dua. These two drivers have been at it for some time. So he's going to try to get the overspeed going onto the straight after turn 3. It doesn't seem to work for him just yet. Obviously the Porsche 992 isn't the best when it comes to top speed. It's better than the 991, obviously, as we saw on the previous 1.8 races, but we do see now he is losing a tiny bit of time there, so Dewar is probably picking up the pace. Has a bit of a gap now to Tuamen of about a 4-second gap, but it's fluctuating quite a bit, so it might not be at his actual true gap. As Sven Corving, though, very close now to Andre's hold here, trying to get this move done possibly before the end of this lap. We do see him losing a bit of time, but getting a lot of time on the exit there. Is he going to try use the slipstream to his advantage? Obviously the slipstream isn't going to be too strong here. Does seem Andre's hold does make a bit of an error going into the final corner, which does leave Sven Corvin having the inside line going on to the start finish line. He will try to go side by side. It does seem that the pace difference is in Sven Corving's favour, and it does seem Andre's hold breaks very late. There goes on the runoff. That is definitely going to be a track cut there, but we do see now Sven Corving's been battling a tiny bit too much, and we do see the McLaren of Daniel Trambaglio, who hasn't had the best of luck during half of the season so far. Fortunately, can he try and make a comeback and try to get a win? Here he is trying to take P3 here from Sven Corving, but we do see as well Trey Menon, who was provisional P3 during qualifying, also trying to get involved with this. Not going to work just yet for them. starting to lose a bit of gap between them both. Obviously, this was just because they were battling. However, we do see now Chu and Mainen trying to get a move done on the McLaren of Daniel Trambaglio. Is this because he just battled a bit too much as we hear the roaring engines of the McLaren 720S Evo against this Porsche 992? Does seem that Daniel does have the pace advantage here. Regarding to last lap, so we'll have to see with that, as we have seen Yaroshenko and Giuseppe, as I said earlier, pit. So is their pit strategy going to work? It does seem there's about a 24-second gap between him and Jim Emanuelson, so it might work, it might not. It seems it might be quite a long, obviously the pit lane isn't the longest here, same with all of the straights here, so that's why I'm saying the slipstream won't be too effective here at Red Bull Ring. Does seem though Andres Holt is trying to get a bit of gap here, trying to break the slipstream, even though it doesn't do too much around this track, but still has an advantage point for Sven Corving. Obviously the pit window, there is no pit window, so you can pit whenever you would like, as we do see Andres Holt makes a bit of a mistake going into turn 3, which leads to Sven Corving catching up to him a bit. Still about a 3/10 gap, so still a comfortable gap there. It's not too big, but it's not too small to worry about having to defend 24/7 and possibly leading Daniel Trambaglio, who is trying to get past as well as Sven Corvin. Just seems they're going into the first 10-ish minutes of this race now. All the drivers are starting to settle in quite well. Not too many accidents. I don't think we saw any major damage accidents here, which is good to see. But it does seem Andres Holt is getting in a bit of pressure here from Sven. Sven seems to dominate Sector 2 and parts of Sector 3, depending on how much pressure Andres Holt can actually handle from Sven Corving behind. Obviously, Sven doesn't want to attack too much because he also has Daniel Trambaglio and Chue Mainen in the distance as well. So it could lead to a four-way battle, depending on whose pace is the fastest. Could lead to a bit of a train forming, as we can see. Mark GG. We do see though what seems to be Tramby in the grass, which has led Mark GG to go by. But we'll just get a bit of a replay on that on board with Mark GG. It seems he was behind him, might have broke a bit late. Going into turn 1, doesn't seem anything was to do with him. It seems he went a bit slow there. Mark GG just going into the back of him, causing a bit of a collision, leading Tramby to go into the grass there. If he's going to pit this lap, Tramby, he might do so as well, depending on how much damage he has. Doesn't seem he has too much, but it seems Tramby trying to gain the position as he lost here on James Williams. Going for a bit of a lunge, doesn't seem to work just yet. Starting to break a slipstream a bit here, James Williams, trying to keep P11 for the time being. So do see though Deschong as well, trying to get involved with this as well. Obviously, if they battle too much, Deschong will be all over the back of both of these drivers and have the potential of getting a double overtake. A very rare occasion you see in GT3 or any other kind of racing league. Sven Corvin starting to lose the pace here on Andres Holt. Does seem he has picked up the pace a tiny bit. If Sven Corvin can start to retaliate, try to push faster, as we do see Picano is starting to lead by quite some time. Deschong now is starting to put a bit of pressure. It does seem Tramby did get past James Williams when we didn't see, which has led James Williams at danger of P13 here. It does seem the slipstream's helping Deschong quite a bit going into this short straight before turn 3. He's got to go for a bit of a lunge. Doesn't seem he's got to hold with it. It does seem James Williams broke a bit later, which causes him to stay in the lead of this battle for now. But it does seem Deschong has the pace advantage for now. Not by much. It's about 5,000th of a second, but obviously it's still the quicker car at the moment, depending if James Williams can start putting more pressure here on Tramby. If he puts too much, he might lose a position to Deschong. So it's all about trying to balance, again, as I've said this earlier, And I can't stress it enough. You need to always just attack as much as you can, but you also want to try and balance how much you attack while you have to defend if you have a car behind you as well. Obviously, there's quite a safe gap here between James Williams and DeShong now. So we can try and get a tiny bit of a gap and try to battle here with Trampy to try get his position back that he lost after the little lunge that was sent into what appears to be, I think it was turn 8 or 9. Simon Turner. Car we have seen quite a few times during this season. That is not Simon Turner, but it does seem though Simon Turner might have gone into pits. No, he did not go into the pits. Turner now seems to have blue flags already. I'm not sure what that happens, as we have just seen Andre Scotton go into the pits. So that is what he is back here currently in P21, trying to get that undercut as well. Will it work? Obviously, we're estimating what the pit stop could be, about 45-ish seconds, possibly more. So it's a good chunk of a lap you're losing if you're doing it very, very early on in the race. So a lot of pressure to try and keep and maintain that gap so you actually can perform in the undercut. Otherwise, you've just done an early pit stop and you've lost all of that time that you gained from qualifying. So he is, yeah, again overlaps by the entire grid here. So he needs to try and get that lap back by overtaking Namtaz and what seems to be Simon Turner as well. These two cars are fighting there as well, so which puts a bit more pressure on not trying to kill them in the race. I've just realised I was recording for that entire time. So my solid state storage is going to be absolutely chock as a block. Luckily I've got a few, but we do see Simon Turner entering the pit lane now. So we do see Scotland trying to unlap himself now. Trying to look for a move going side by side here with Namtaz. Isn't going to work yet for him. Namtaz obviously being in P16, so he has lost quite a few positions, and it does seem he makes a mistake going into turn 1, which leads to him losing the position of the lap of Jim Amulison as well. So it's not being too good of an execution here from Scotland, but the other two drivers are also at risk as well. Seems like Yaroshenko is starting to pull back here on Simon Turner, who has actually gone into pits. As you can see that. Jim Amulison, they're trying to get past Namtaz here, going into Sector 3 now. 50 minutes into this race now. We have seen a few people pit. Seen 4 people pit, which has been the 3 Ferraris, Yaroshenko, Sciotto and Simon Turner, followed then by the Mercedes of Andre Scotton, who we can see in this battle trying to unlap himself. So now goes a bit wide there. He's starting to lose the time. He's making too many mistakes to try keep up with Jim Amulison. Namtaz, it does seem though it's going to be a bit of a lunge here from Jim Amulison. It isn't going to work yet. It goes over the sausage curb, which makes him now at risk here from Scotton, which isn't too much of risk though because he is an underlapper. So it doesn't matter too much, but he has created a bit of a gap now between him and Namtaz, which he isn't going to be too happy about. Obviously all the work he's just done has just gone to nothing for now, unless he can try getting it back. I've seen this quite a bit recently. I've done quite a bit of endurance racing commentating with quite various leagues. I call this the loop because what we do tend to see when two cars of very similar pace, let's say a 10th difference between them in pace, you start to see that car who's obviously the faster car but is behind starting to catch up all over the back of them. And then obviously you could encounter anything, which could be any obstacle from traffic to a bit of damage that can also affect it. And obviously we've got gravel trap here at Red Bull Ring as well, but I was obviously doing, well, or not obviously because you wouldn't know, what I was doing unless you were watching the streams. We do see Scotland trying to go for a move there on Mumtaz, which is going to cause this gap to close back down for Jim Amulison. See how Thompson's doing, of course. I'll get him on stream right now. Ian Thompson currently in P15 in the AMR Chica Motorsports livery, kind of isolated right now, about 3.5 seconds or so to Mickey Taylor in front, but still has about a good 3.5 seconds to the car behind him of Mumtaz, which will start increasing, sorry, between them both, because obviously Mumtaz is battling here with Jim Emilison, and also has Scotland as well in the background, so this is all something to take in mind. So he is quite isolated down in P15 right now. Does have the potential though to get all the way up, currently in provisional pace of P13, so James Williams at risk of losing the position, as we do see Mickey Tramby going side by side here with Deschamps into what seems to be the final few corners of Sector 2. We also see James Williams trying to get involved with this as well. It does seem as though Deschamps gets past. It's Mickey Taylor now, and a lot of pressure here from James Williams. It does seem that's going to happen. On the wing here, we do see James Williams is all over the back of Most Tramby now. It does seem he's going to go for a huge lunge there, but it does seem that Most Tramby did have a bit of an issue going into what seems to be turn 7, which has led James Williams to go up the position into P12 right now. But will we see Most Tramby get the position done again, as we did see this earlier on, where we did see him overtake, I think it was into this corner as well, going back up into P11 what was earlier, but now we have seen James Williams re-overtake that position, so it's something to see. The pace is quite similar between them both, as we do see Andrews hold now, still holding the pressure of Daniel Trambaglio, and we do see Sven Corving as well, which seems Daniel Trambaglio over the last few laps has taken the position of P3 away from Sven Corving, so we might start seeing a pace difference between these two, and we could see Sven Corving drop off between these two and start to make a bit of a gap for both of them, unless he can have the motivation to try go a bit faster, as we do see he might be at a bit of pressure from Trio Maiden, who's also behind him just in horizon. You might be able to see in these camera angles there in the orange PST Racing Porsche, still about a 1.4 second gap between them both, but it's still enough. If he attacks too much, he will lose so much time, and that's got a little lead to Trio Maiden to get all over the back of him as well. Support for Chico Motorsport there, I see. But yeah, as I was talking about earlier, that loop, that seems I've seemed to find endurance racing. Obviously, if there's a car that's a similar pace, around a tenth, as I said earlier, is they would get all behind him, because obviously, as I was saying as well, the faster car is behind, and he's trying to get past the slow car, even though it's very marginal how big the gap is in pace difference. So we'll see them get all the way closer to them, or like pretty much bumper to bumper. But then we would see, obviously, the obstacles that could occur during the race. Obviously, we've got anything. It could be just losing a bit of time from a silly mistake of not driving the correct line, and losing time either from braking, either too early or too late, or just braking too much or too little, as I was just saying. Obviously, the gravel traps as well, you can lose quite a bit of speed, as that's what they were meant to do. Obviously, gravel traps being a safety tool implemented into most racetracks now. I think it's a regulation now to see gravel traps in tracks. That's why we've seen now the Spa is going into Le Combs. It's now all a gravel instead of what used to be that runoff area, which can be a bit difficult for drivers, as you have seen it in the new Rennsport game, if any of you've played it. So it's just a tiny bit of apex there, which can lead to some less confidence going into that corner, because obviously if you go off too much, you'll just go into the gravel and lose too much time, and could lose positions depending on how close you are, because you also have all of what seems to be, yeah, because that corner is so painful if you lose too much time going into it, because you have all of a Rouge Radion, which is flat, and then you have the big straight going into the first chicane, so there's a lot of time that you can actually lose if you just make a bit of a mistake going into turn 1 of Le Combs. So we do see that could also be an issue. Obviously, it could be the same here with Red Bull Ring as well, because we see here at turn 4 there's gravel traps absolutely everywhere, but we do see a tiny bit of a runoff area, that purple, what seems to be concrete, next to the apex as well, which is better compared to what we see at Spa, which just has the apex. We still start to see a few battles. This still seems to be the most close battle on track, but while I was talking now, we do see Proam has caught up going into the 23rd minute of this race now. He has caught up quite a bit, which could lead now Van Corving to be in a bit of trouble here. He's been battling a bit too hard. Obviously, it hasn't been too much of a pace drop off between Daniel Trembaglio and Sven Corving, so it has now led to Handel Proam to be a part of this battle as well. It does seem that Sven Corving just glitching a tiny bit going into turn 1. It might put off Proam a tiny bit, but it does seem now he might have the slipstream going into this corner. It does seem he's a little far back as well, as we do see the other pack of cars in the distance as well. It does seem that Sven Corving is braking a bit earlier than the Lamborghini of Sven Corving. Now all over the back of him, Hanno is now the highest priority here, so Sven Corving. It does seem he goes for a bit of a juke move, doesn't seem to work. Daniel Trembaglio is still in sight though for Sven Corving. He wants to try get past to try get a bit of a barrier of safety between him and Hanno, but it's not going to work yet for him. So he might have to just put defense as his highest priority and sacrifice losing what could be a few seconds to Hanno to keep P5. Obviously, there's still strategy that can play in this race. Hanno could try go for the undercut depending on when and how big the gap can be when he goes in for pits. As we'll start seeing the majority of the drivers pitting at around the 6-minute mark. Well, in the next 6 minutes, as we have seen quite a few drivers now retire. 3 drivers now out of this race and fully left the session, which isn't great to see. Smaller grid now. Does seem that the slipstream is helping Sven Corving a lot more. Obviously, that 92 does not have the top speed that the Lamborghini or the McLaren might have. Mark GG though, closer to Alex Fragerwood than ever before. Trying to look for this position of P7. Not going to be in the slipstream just yet. It does seem now Alex Fragerwood's lines are a bit all over the place now, as we do see Mark GG gaining a lot of time now. Going into turn 3, but losing a bit of time as it does seem. I'm not sure if Alex is using a controller here, because his inputs seem to be quite stuttered here. I won't be able to tell. I don't think he is. I think it was just what he was doing earlier, but I think he's trying to break the slipstream there, as we did see a misshift a bit, going down a gear instead of up one, which has led now to Mark GG being all over the back of Alex Fragerwood, which could lead to a risk of overtaking here, which obviously they are kind of in no man's land now, because there is quite a big gap to P6 and to P9, so they can afford to battle. But if they battle too much, which hopefully they can't lose about 9 seconds or so in that time. It does seem though Alex Fragerwood is starting to pick up the pace a tiny bit. Now about a 6th, 10th gap between them both. Just now seeing him pull away a tiny bit. We are starting to see the barrels fading now, as we do see a few cars going into pits. We do see what seems to be Sven Corving, who was in P4 after losing the position to Daniel Trembaglio. If this is a strategic move from Sven to try and undercut Daniel Trembaglio, we'll have to see, but it does seem he is going to be part of the 4 other cars that has actually pitted so far. As he is now probably close to completing his pit stop. I don't know if he's taking tyres. I don't think he is. Just probably half tank of fuel. He comes out of the pits now, down in P15. It doesn't seem Yaroshenko's undercut has worked too well for him just yet. It does seem those cars are a bit in no man's land, these 3 and 4, sorry. See, now he's starting to lose a bit of time here to Daniel Trembaglio for the podium step. It's ever so slightly per lap, but it seems to be about 2/10 or so in favour of Daniel Trembaglio last lap, which seems like a lot, but it might just be an anomalous lap here. Does seem though he's not taking the slipstream going into it. Obviously, we're on board with Hanu Chuamena now of the PST Racing 992. Gains a lot of time here going to turn 3. It's not going to help him at all, and it does seem his exit is a lot more completely forgot the word I was going to say, but just a lot more improvised, I guess, than Daniel Trembaglio. See, though, turn 4 does help him out quite a bit. Daniel Trembaglio is starting to struggle there, going into that corner. Does seem he's limited to what he can do there. Does seem he's going to understeer a lot, going nowhere near the apex there, which is going to lead to Hanu Chuamena to be all over the back of him. Now this is where we have to see of the decisions that could be made. Is he going to worth battling this, or is he going to try go for the undercut? It does seem he's going to have to slipstream now, and the overspeed going to going to go for a bit of a switchback. It seems he's not. Is he going to go into the pits this lap? He's all over the back of him. He's not going into the pit this lap. He's going to try battle this for the provisional podium step, because obviously we did see Sven Corving also take it as well, as we do see Yaroshenko is now past Sven Corving, so this could be an undercut move from Yaroshenko that could have worked here. So we do see they are quite far away from each other. It does seem Yaroshenko is about 10 seconds or so ahead of Sven Corving, so it might have been a good call there from Yaroshenko, but the other ones haven't been able to do it successfully so far. Chuamena all over the back now of Daniel Trembaglio, going into what seems to be the straight before turn 4. Is he going to try go for the inside line, go for a little bit of a juke move? Seems he might stick it, trying to go on the inside line. He goes for a bit of a dive bomb. Is he going to stick the move, or is he going to have the too much speed and understeer off track? It seems he gets the move done. However, is this going to be any sort of retaliation here from Daniel Trembaglio to try to get this podium step back? It seems he is all over the back of him now, as it does seem we're going to repeat history, but Hanu Chuamena this time not being able to take the apex into turn 6, and Daniel Trembaglio being able to. Are we going to see Daniel Trembaglio pit or Hanu Chuamena this lap, as it seems both of them aren't? As it seems Daniel Trembaglio is going to pit to see if he can try undercut Hanu Chuamena, and again he has to absolutely nail this to try get this right, because he is in the pace disadvantage now between the both of us. We do see what seems to be Alex Fragwood and Mark GT also paying at the same time. This could be a bit of a drag race, and whoever can actually nail the pit stop, because they are full position, as it does seem Daniel Trembaglio is in the pit box. He has to try and nail this. It's the same with these two drivers as they come closer than ever going to their pit boxes. It does seem Mark GG is in his pit box now, as well as Alex Fragwood. None of them having to be pushed back or having to be improvised on the stands there. That can lose them up to like 5 or so seconds, which is a lot to think about. As we also see Mose Tramby joining the pits. Obviously we're now at the dead halfway point of this race, so you're probably doing a half and half fuel. Does seem who's going to be able to come out first. It's going to be Mark GG or Alex Fragwood. Obviously Alex Fragwood was ahead of Mark GG, not by much, as we do see Mark GG has been released from the stands. Is it going to be enough? Or now Alex Fragwood has been able to keep and maintain quite a big gap here, as he's now all over what seems to be Mickey Taylor as well. So he does that quite well between them both. And so that's something to keep an eye out there, as Giuseppe is also just doing turn 1 as well, as we can see is also part of this. Mickey Taylor and Alex Fragwood currently for P14, as we have seen Mickey Mose Tramby has come out of pits now. Mickey Taylor has also pitted now up into P13. So we haven't seen the top 8 pit just yet. Picano in the pit though, same with what seems to be Dewar as well, so we will see them fall down a bit. But it does seem he has quite a big gap here, so he should be able to get back on the lead here, Sebastian Picano. We do see what seemed to be a bit of a battle here between these two. Seems Alex Fragwood is trying to get closer. It isn't working yet for him. Does seem going through turn 5. Both of them being able to do it right. I don't know the pace difference between both of them, but it does seem the fastest lap is very much in Alex Fragwood's favour of a 1:29 dead. Ian Thompson left. I wasn't enjoying the race. That's fair. You were, I think, in P15, and it does seem Christopher Gedman was supporting you during the race. But obviously, it's unfortunate to see, but sometimes it does happen. Try not to burn yourself out is the best thing. That's always the priority of it. Mickey Taylor, though, starting to creep up now on Alex Fragwood. Do you see the slipstream might be able to help him here going into turn 2 and 3 now? Does seem though he's going to try go. Is he going to go for a lunge? He is going to have the lunge and go for the inside line. Does seem Mickey Taylor might let him go here. Is he going to have some sort of retaliation? He's still side by side going in to the strays. We also do see Giuseppe Sciotto in the background as well. It does seem going into turn 4. They're still going to be side by side, but it does seem Mickey Taylor is going to have the outside line of this hairpin, so not going to happen very much. Alex Fragwood gets by provisionally for what seems to be P12. Any sort of retaliation to happen to Mickey Taylor could happen, but it does seem though Giuseppe is getting closer though to losing a position as well. P11 currently in close, but Daniel Trambaglio is down in P10 right now. Obviously have done his pits. Sebastian, this is basically going to be our order. Sebastian Picano is currently in P4, then Yaroshenko, who could potentially make quite a big run up here. Obviously his undercut I was doubting earlier, but it seems to have worked as we do see James Williams and DeShung both in the pits now. Yaroshenko though in P5, this could have been quite a good call here from Yaroshenko, as he's very far down the grid for most of the race, but now just persevering. Going 25 minutes left of this race now. Seems everyone has paired apart from Andres Holt, Tuerman and Charles Stewart, but we do see Picano obviously being able to lead the race still. Net P1, followed there by Yaroshenko, net P2, then net P3 of Sven Corving, Dewar Saralia, currently in net P4, then followed there by Daniel Trambaglio, DeShong, Sciotto, and then Fragwood, Mickey Taylor, Mark GG, James Williams, Martin Cotterill, Jim Emmanuelson, and then we've got Nicholas Mamtaz, then we've got Most Tramby, and then Simon Turner, basically doing our net positions so far. But obviously we haven't seen two remain in pit, Andres Hold or Charles Stewart, as we do see Andres in the pit now, taking the exit line now, taking off the pit limiter. Seems to be in no man's land right now, still in P4. Yaroshenko just behind, it seems. Daniel Trambaglio close, very very close here to Dewar. Is it going to be a move that happens this lap? This is obviously for position. Does seem Daniel Trambaglio lost a few positions going into the pits, so I'm presuming he might have been readjusted on the stand, which has lost him the position to Dewar, which means he might not be able to take home a podium that he was currently in. Alex Fragwood though, what seems to be side by side here, going into the straight with Giuseppe Sciotto. Doesn't mean he's got to have the inside line going into turn 3. So is he got to break any later? No, it does seem Giuseppe breaks very late, which has caused him to go on the runoff area and let Alex Fragwood basically have free position there, if there's going to be retaliation from him at all. But it does seem now Mickey Taylor's also got to try to get involved with this. All over the back of Giuseppe right now. Could think of going to move in the next few corners. He is gaining quite a bit of time now, but that is probably because of the attacking that was happening between them both. It seems the battles are dying. I will tell you what the current standings are in the championship. Obviously, it's going to change as we have seen a few retirements from the race, and obviously a few people not signing into today's race. So if I quickly go on to the SimGrid, we can currently see what will happen. So if I go on to this, we can see, because it seems the pace is very close between them both. I'm going to give you a quick weather update. It's going to be dry for the entire race. Obviously, we do see it's just full clouds, very dense cloud cover. Standings now. Do you see Yaroshenko currently in P1 with what seems to be 370 points there, followed by Poulin, who isn't in this race, so he will drop a few races, a few positions in the championship here tonight with 350 points. So quite a big difference there between Yaroshenko and Poulin of 20 points, followed by Daniel Trambaglio, who we currently see in P8 trying to gain back to the podium steps he was originally in. Followed then by Hanu Tuominen, who we did see earlier quite a bit during the race. He's actually in the lead, but hasn't done their pit stop just yet, with 320 points. Then Andres Hold, who we did see again earlier, who has done his pit stop and is currently in. I can't see where he is. He's currently in P4 with 320 points. Very close behind, though, between Tuominen and Andres Hold. Both using a Porsche with a 2.5 points between them both. Obviously then Sven Corvin, who was in P3 and P4 fluctuating, but does seem currently now in P6. Can he gain back those positions? Obviously he might be. He's currently in net P4 if he can try and maintain a good gap between Charles Stewart and Hanu Tuominen, because they still need to pit, as I said earlier. Followed for P7 in the championship, Ian Thompson, who unfortunately retired from the race earlier, 302 points, followed by Giuseppe Sciotto, 301 points, a 1 point gap between P7 and P8 in the championship. Followed that by Sebastian Picano with 288 points. It's a quite big dip there between P8 and P9. So it could be quite a tight championship, as we do see a few drivers being very close to each other. Going down into top 10 now, Mark GG with 264 points. This is where we're starting to see quite a big space out in points, followed there by Jim Amulason, who is also in the race currently in P16, but it does seem Mark GG is getting all over the back of him, who's currently P10 in the championship, trying to gain more points, trying to get past Mickey Taylor. It doesn't seem to work just yet. We'll go on board with him. Obviously it can happen at any time possible. Then Selimanov, who is also not in this race tonight, unfortunately. Does seem Mark GG isn't getting any slipstream, so we can use the wing for a reference. It does seem he starts getting a lot of slipstream going to the end of the straight, but it's not going to be enough. But he has another straight here, and it's very close there. The 2 tenth gap between them both now. This is where we start again to use the wing as a reference point to see how much slipstream he actually gains. Isn't a lot going into the final part of the segment of the straight. This is where we start to see him gaining a lot of time, but doesn't use it efficiently. Then we do see obviously Mickey Taylor, who we're on board with, currently P13 in the championship with 254 points, currently battling with Mark GG. Does see Mark GG's going to try look for a move. He's going to go for the outside. Is he going to swing back in for the inside? No, he's not. He's side by side here, committed going into turn 4. Bit of door rubbing between them both. Is there going to be a switchback here from Mark GG? It doesn't seem he's able to, and he stays himself down in P12. Provisionally, he is all over the back of Mickey Taylor now. He just has to try and get past him, but Mickey Taylor won't let that happen. Will try to defend as much as he can, not trying to get the pressure to him as well. So he's starting to lose time to Giuseppe, who was very close to him, and we do see James Williams in the background as well, getting closer. So this is something that we could see an interesting battle. If they battle too hard here, Mark GG could lose another position, but we could see Mickey Taylor, who could potentially lose 2 positions, and James Williams could be a very happy man getting 2 positions, but we'll have to see what happens. It does seem that it's quite aggressive here. It does seem he's not going to have enough speed. McLaren versus McLaren, same machinery. Does seem he's going to go for a very big lunge there going into turn 1, goes on the runoff area. That is going to be a track limits. We haven't seen anyone have a drive-through for track limits yet. Mickey Taylor isn't too happy with that because that is definitely an illegal overtake. What we call out using the outside of the track for the overtaking, but it does seem Mark GG gets the move done now. Is there going to be retaliation here from Mickey Taylor? Does seem he tries it, isn't going to work yet. Obviously, he still has 17 minutes to try get a move done. We have had pretty much nearly 75% of this race, 73.5% of the race, I believe we have had so far. Does seem though Mickey Taylor's going to go for a huge lunge there, which causes both of them to go spinning, and Mickey Taylor goes spinning off into the gravel there. It does seem Mark GG does just actually recover it. I'm going to get a bit of a replay on what happened, so I'm not sure if Mickey Taylor was too happy with what happened. Yeah, it does seem he just dive bombed a bit there. Mark GG managing to see what happened into his mirror, avoids it, but Mickey Taylor is not going to be happy with that one. Just spinning out there, losing position down in P16 now, losing, quite a few positions. Would have been a P13, well, P12 actually, losing 4 positions in just a few seconds. That just tells you how close they are, but it's still quite sparse out. James Williams now getting closer to Mark GG, but still not close enough to try think of a move just yet. Going back on with the leaderboard, currently Alex Fragwood P14 in the championship with 224 points. Then chat's favourite of Donozo, who isn't in this race either, 219 points, followed there by Andres Scotton, who is in the race, currently in P. Actually, no, he is retired from the race as well. One of the only Mercedes has also retired, unfortunately. Who has 212.5 points, and quite a big leap of gap there. Cody Bestlink, who we haven't seen in a few races now, currently with 205 points and 0.5, followed there by very close gap between him and Mose Tramby of just 0.5 of a point. Mose Tramby currently in P18 in the championship with 205 points, followed by another close gap here with Simone Tizanini, who we haven't seen in some time either, I don't think, with 203 points. Then another very close battle in points here with Martin Cotterer with 1 point difference here, with 202 points to take the top 20. Rounded up now going into the 21st position, Charles Stewart with 193.5 points, so a bit of a leap once again there. And then going down into P22, Simon Turner of Turner Racing, the Ferrari 296 GT3 with 188 points, with P23 in the championship of Nicholas Namtaz, who is currently 17th in this race so far, with 185 points, followed there by Mad Chip with 164 points, and a big leap in the points with about a 14-point difference there. James Williams with currently 25th in the championship, holding with 150 points, followed then by Albert Rossen with 140.5 points for P26. Callum Watt, a driver we haven't seen in a while. I don't think I've seen him since Spa, I believe. Currently in P27 in the championship with 132.5 points. And Jake Deschamps, who is currently in P9, doing quite well. This will definitely put him some good score. Currently with 123.5 points. Then Dua Saralia, who we haven't seen with all of these races here, so might have been a latecomer driver with 100 points, taking P29. Then Petrowski, who we did see, I think, during the first race with 67 points. Then Verstraeten, who we did see, he seems to have a disqualification, same with Craig Hill, Fabian Runge, Adrian. Wow, a lot of people do have disqualifications. I'm not sure if that's they tried changing cars halfway through. That is something that happens with pit scale. Now with the scoring, would you see everyone does get points, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, everyone gets points all the way up into P49. Obviously, I'll just read out the top few. So P1 will get 51.5 points, followed by P2 with 48.5, so a bit of a point difference in there, with P3 getting 46 points, then P4 getting 44 points, P5 42.5, And it practically goes down in that order of pattern. Does seem, though, as I was reading all of that out, it seems James Williams is under a lot of pressure from Giuseppe behind. I'm not sure if this is because Giuseppe tried think of a move, didn't get it working just yet. Go on the wing here with James Williams. Does seem though James Williams having a bit of an overdrive moment that has caused Giuseppe to go all over the bumper here of James Williams. Is they're going to be side by side going into the final two corners. It does seem it's going to happen. Now it does seem he is going to have the inside line, which is a favourite advantage here. It doesn't seem it's going to work yet. James Williams trying to break later to try and not happen with formation of side by side, which has led now Giuseppe battling a bit too hard, which has let Martin Cotterill be behind him now, having a bit of a slipstream. Does seem to be working quite well. He's going to try luck for the outside move. I don't know why didn't try going for the inside there. Going into turn one, gets the better exit though, and this is where we do see Giuseppe can potentially lose a position here going into turn three. It seems to go side by side. It's now a drag race going into turn three. Obviously it does seem Martin Cotterill will have the inside lines. They both make contact and they both crash into the wall. What happened there? Both of them just managing to recover it, but it seems both of them just went into a wall. I feel like Martin Cotterill just drove him off track there. Very interesting what happened there. It seems just turning a lot more. It didn't seem he was there, and then both going into the wall. Major damage there to Giuseppe's car. Not so much to Martin Cotterill there. I'm not sure Giuseppe's going to be very happy with what happened there. That was a very weird contact to happen. It does seem that Giuseppe stays in the lead, but it does seem Martin Cotterill is going to look to go down the inside going into turn 5. He's going to get the move done successfully, but I'm not sure Giuseppe is going to like that very much with how much damage he actually has. 11 minutes left of the race. Can he continue with it? It looks like he might have over 23 seconds of damage just by estimate, so that's going to be a lot of time. Obviously 15 seconds is probably the max amount of time you want to take with damage, as we do see Charles Stewart in the pits now to do his mandatory pit stop. I'm not that was quite a controversial move, to say the least. But Alex Fragwood trying to get a bit of an advantage here on Deschamps in the Porsche. Isn't working just yet for him. Still a bit of a gap between them both. Closing the gap slightly, but still not big enough. It does seem that Jake Deschamps does have the pace advantage for now compared to Alex Fragwood. If that's just, again, an anomalous, such an anomaly, depending from where you are, that could definitely be potential. Obviously, these corners are very, very racing line reliant and very reliant with the aero, which both of these cars are using the same exact machinery, but obviously they're different setups and definitely different drivers, so different confidence levels as well between them both. So this is where we do see who has the better Sector 1, Sector 2 and Sector 3. As you see on the timing boards, a few cars having some handicap penalties, with others not having handicap penalties, as that is currently our order as we go back into broadcaster mode. Does seem that Deschamps is in danger now. It does seem Alex Fragwood is gaining some time there going into straight before turn 3. Is it going to be enough time to try going for a move? It looks like he's going to try get the maximum racing line he possibly can. It does seem he gets a better drive going out of the turn 3, and this could be where we see another potential battle that happens here before the end of the race. 8 minutes left to go. It does seem he loses a bit of time there going onto the entrance there of the straight. It does seem there's going to be a huge lunge there from Alex Fragwood. That's not going to help him. It does seem he does get closer, but loses so much time, just loses so much speed going to the end on the exit of turn 4 there, going into what seems to be the two sweeping right-handers, and then we have the S, obviously a corner that's very famous around this track. Very nice corner as well, if you've driven it in the game. seems this is the only battle on track right now. Everyone's starting to be a bit isolated. 8 minutes left of the race. These two are very, very close with it. It does seem Jake Deschamps only has 8 minutes to try defend, so it's definitely possible. But obviously he's not maintaining enough of a gap to try and get it. About an 8-10 gap is about the safe space. Obviously you have the weaker slipstream there for the car behind, so it's all about just trying to maintain a gap, which Jake Deschamps is just trying to do right now. It's about 2 tenths. Obviously the slipstream isn't helping him, and that's breaking it a bit, so he wants to try. So you can see him now just swerving a tiny bit to try break the slipstream, and it seemed to work a bit there, as we do see Alex Fragwood doing the move he did last time, which seemed to work, trying to get all of the runoff there and trying to get the best amount of using all of the track he can, which didn't seem to work this well this time. Alex Fragwood losing a bit of time here. It does seem now Jake Deschamps trying to push, trying not to make any sort of mistake under pressure. It does seem now Alex Fragwood does get closer and closer now to this Deschamps, but it's not going to be enough yet. Obviously he's still behind him, so obviously he can still try prevent him from taking the inside line and all of the advantages he could have possibly had before. Does seem that Alex Fragwood are going for a very, very tight move. They're going into the final penultimate corner. Does seem that he's going to lose a bit of time now. It seems Alex Fragwood's trying to get a tiny bit eager now, going into the final 6 minutes, and now has caused quite a big gap between both of them. About a 7/10 gap. That's what we were talking about earlier. This is going to help Jake Deschamps a lot, easing a lot of the pressure they had on the previous lap, and now the slipstream is obviously going to be very weak for this between them both. And now it does seem this is where Jake Deschamps can start to relax a tiny bit, try to get some decent lap times out to try and outperform Alex Fragwood. It does seem he does lose a tiny bit of time. They're going to turn 3. Not much, but we do see though another battle starting to immense. This is something that isn't within 8 tenths. Obviously we do see Giuseppe, who has the very, very damaged 296 after what we saw on the straight between Giuseppe and Martin Cotterell. Now a pressure from Mickey Taylor behind him. Obviously a very error reliant track this, and obviously he is lacking a lot of error now. Obviously a lot of the error catches have been broken off, or he's now getting a lot of drag from the front bonnet that is now open, and we do see Mickey Taylor looking for a move on the inside. Doesn't break enough though. As can Giuseppe hold this off for 5 minutes? Still about 4 or so laps to try think of getting it done, which is still quite a few laps if you think about it. We do see Alex Fragwood has started to gain back, and they are going to try to go side by side into the first start finish straight. Does seem that Alex Fragwood has his nose out going for the inside line. Is it going to work though? It does seem to have a bit of an impact there, but it does seem Jake Deschamps just closes the door there on him and keeps him behind for the time being. 4 minutes 45 left of this race. Just seems that Jake Deschamps is going to try keep close as he can. It's not going to help him yet though. Looks like he's going straight for the inside line, closing that door as much as he can, but it does seem Alex Fragwood is going to try again. The slipstream as well isn't working just yet, going into turn 4 as he breaks later than Alex Fragwood to try and maintain a bit of a gap, as we were saying earlier. Just basically now playing a game of tag now, trying to get close enough to try and get past, and or just trying to maintain a gap in Jake Deschamps' case here in the Slick 50 Racing 992. Well, Fragwood though absolutely sending it there going into turn 7. It's now all over the back of Jake Deschamps. This is going to help him a lot going into the slipstream. Gets a very good exit into the final corner as well. Going into the start finish straight. Will he have enough of the slipstream to try get an overspeed going side by side with him into the first corner? Doesn't seem he's going to be able to going into the first corner now. Still maintaining around the same gap that we saw earlier. to do his same strategy of using all of the track there. It does seem he gains a lot of time there on Jake Deschamps. It's still not going to be enough. The slipstream isn't going to be strong enough going through the straight here. He might gain a tiny bit of time. It's not going to be enough though to try go side by side with him. He does break a lot later than Jake Deschamps. Gets a great line through that, and now very close to him. About 2-3 tenths between them both. Getting so close here to him. Now, unfortunately, losing a lot of time. They're going into the S of turn 6. Seemed to mess it up, having a bit of an understeer moment going into it. Lost a lot of time. Can he gain it back into the penultimate corner? Seems to gain quite a bit of time back. It seems these 90-degree corners are his best friend, it seems. Gains quite a bit of time going on to start finish straight now. We are starting to see other battles occur as well, as we do see Simon Turner and Charles Stewart both trying to go at 4P18 here. It does seem he's got to try go for the inside line here going into turn 4. It does seem he just gets to move down there. Simon Turner looks like he's letting it go. He's going to try, possibly try to retaliate, but it seems Charles Stewart gets the move done quite easily. But is there going to be any sort of retaliation here at all from him? It does seem he's all over the bumper. Not going to work there. He gets a bit of the gravel there. That's going to lose him quite a bit of speed, unfortunately. And now in Charles Stewart's case, that is a very fortunate situation. And now the gap's starting to increase between them both. Going into the final lap possibly here. So you see Alex Fragwood still trying to get past. He might start getting a bit impatient now, as he probably still has about 2 laps, as we have just heard crew chief just say Sebastian Picano, the leader of this race, has now entered the final lap of the race. And it does seem now Sebastian has lost quite a bit of his time that he had earlier, of that 10-second gap that he had between him and P2. Now down to about 3 seconds between them both, which obviously he's lucky that he maintained such a big gap. Otherwise he would probably be having to fight quite a bit to try keep the lead of this race. These two cars are still at it as much as they can, basically up to their necks and battling here. It does seem he's going to have to try fight for it this lap. This will be his final lap to try get it done. This is where we'll start to see the more impatient moves starting to happen. It does seem though Alex Fragwood is just going to try to play it safe. Does seem he gets the better exit there on turn 1. Jake Deschamps and starting to lose the time between him and Alex Fragwood, which is good in his case. They're starting to maintain quite a big gap between them both. Obviously Alex Fragwood seems to adore turn 3 here, getting quite a good line there. Obviously gains a lot of time there from using all of the track that he can, being able to carry in more speed there than Jake Deschamps. It doesn't seem Alex Fragwood's going to be able to do it at this rate if Jake Deschamps can keep defending on what he is being able to do, as he is going to try go for the outside. That isn't going to work yet, going into the final sector now after these 2 corners. As we have just seen, the leader has finished the race. We'll go on to him in a minute, but these two are still going on. It does seem now Alex Fragwood is starting to get a bit impatient. We see him all over the bumper now of Jake Deschamps. It's not going to work yet though, as he only has 2 more corners to try get this move done. Obviously the slipstream can help if he can get the overspeed going on to the start finish straight, but can it? He only has 2 corners left, and he's still quite a reasonable gap between them both. Alex Fragwood losing time there. It looks like he's getting very impatient going into the final corner, braking later than him. It's not going to work. Jake Deschamps, excellent drive from him there, being able to maintain very good lap times between pressure there, of having the pressure of Alex Fragwood behind him. Obviously our race winner here, Sebastian Picano, taking the win there, boosting him up in the championship, followed there by Hannu Tuominen in the PST Racing 992, and rounding up the top 3 of Andries Holt in the Porsche 992. Now I must say, even though there was only 22 drivers who started this race and we finished with about 19, it was actually still quite an interesting race, which is good to see. Obviously I wasn't thinking it was going to be a very interesting race, because it's not usually we have many drivers and have still quite an interesting session. Obviously there's only 1 round left of this season now, going on to Imola for the 2 30-minute sprint races. to see who can be crowned champion here, and hopefully we can have a bit more of a big grid for that, because obviously it's the last race, and we'll start hopefully seeing more drivers attending for this race. Obviously there's a limitation of 2 drop rounds during the season, so you can obviously not having to attend all of the races is still quite a positive, and still being able to fight for the championship. But my name has been Aces/Alex in the Discord. I've been your commentator and the voice of this season's Proam GT3 Championship, and I will see you for Imola to see who was crowned champion of this season. I will see you guys later. Have a very good night, and I'll see you for next round. Bye.
Got my just calling to say I calling to say I
Heaven just knows what it wants. Will I go back to the place where I belong? Everyone could break my heart, but I try my best to not fall apart. And I find it hard to let go. The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. You'll be my pleasure. I got nothing to be scared of, because where people live, there is always love. I know the answers in my heart, so I'll try my best to not fall apart. And I found it hard to let go. The memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, to the ones who never say never. Will you be my pleasure? Find it hard to let go. Memories keep me together. Gotta fight till the end, no pressure, no pressure. And I find it hard to say no to the ones who want something better, the ones who never say never. Will you be my pleasure?